The experience of seeing another veteran finding something for the first time, there's really no way to put that into words. You see that flicker come back on in their eyes.
And we were pulling stuff up out of there that told me, oh my gosh, an American probably sat right here under this tree 242 years ago, sat right here getting ready for a battle. And we just sat there for a minute and thought about what that really meant. I mean, we've seen the bad guys on the other side in our own wars, but to look out here and think of what they were facing, it's daunting. And know that it's the guys here that did this fight, this very fight, that let us be Americans.
Put something from 250 years ago in their hands while they're surrounded by their buddies again, and to see them open up, to see those smiles start to reappear.
These are people that have seen kind of the worst of the worst in terms of combat.
Everybody that comes to this team right now has two common denominators. One, they're interested in archaeology in one way or another, and two, we're veterans. The dig site that we're working on is a Revolutionary War battlefield, where our brothers and sisters in arms 200 years ago fought for this country's freedom. So why would we not have a great connection to it?
It really brings an understanding to it, you know, when they're reaching down and they're saying, oh, this here was a musket ball and this was used in the Revolutionary War. There's nobody better to, you know, bring that understanding.
Saratoga was the battle where the French finally decided to come and support the U.S., or at least the colonies, in their efforts during the American Revolution. You know, this was where they were like, okay, maybe these guys have a shot.
The battles of Saratoga were key to the creation of the United States of America and the founding of our nation. The British Army under the command of Lieutenant General John Burgoyne surrendered on the 17th of October, 1777. It was, in truth, the first time in world history that a British army ever surrendered. It turned some heads, as you can imagine, especially that of King Louis XVI of France.
America really started here because this is the turning point of the revolution. So to be able to sit under a tree to dig up a button or something that an American militiaman actually wore on his uniform, it blows my mind. Because as a military person myself and as a war veteran myself, that's my heritage.
So the reason that archaeology really bonds veterans is that archaeology is a lot like military service. We have a shared mission that we're all pulling together in order to reach. There's an academic mission for these digs that's set by a technical specialist in that area, and we're all moving toward getting that done, just like in military service. We're working outside with our hands. We're on a pretty tight-knit schedule, so we've got that stability and solidity to the day. And of course, we're working alongside other veterans who have the same values that we do. So in a sense, it's like military service without the shooting, is kind of like what we like to say.
For 2 years, I was floundering around. When you get out of the military, you kind of lose that contact, that camaraderie with other veterans, and you kind of lose yourself a little bit. And so I wanted to get back to that. I miss being a group, I miss being in a unit. When you walk the actual battlefields or historical spots that you read about, it comes to life. So history is just, it's beautiful.
It took me back. I looked around the field, I looked around the landscape, and it just brought me back. Like, imagine those soldiers getting ready for the battle the night before. I just imagine, like, what were they doing, what was their feeling, what were they thinking for tomorrow is not certain, but right now it is, so I wonder what they were doing.
It's something that's ingrained in all veterans, is that just can-do attitude. And it's very evident on the field itself. It doesn't matter how hard the task is or what it might be, everyone just wants to jump in there and get the job done.
I'm very blessed. I'm making friendships that are going to last a lifetime. We might not live near each other, but I'm coming away with friends and support, which every veteran needs. I can still, you know, give 110% even though I'm a disabled veteran myself.
So I think I've learned about myself that I still can contribute something, and that maybe there is something that I can look forward to in the next part of my life that I hadn't thought about before.
I've learned that AVAR is an amazing organization. This is the most I've felt like a team since I left the military about 5 years ago.
Veterans need transitional programs like this because civilian and veteran culture do tend to be very different. Civilian and military culture are very different. And this is one of those programs where we can put civilians and military together in that trench and they can pursue that mission together. Saratoga is absolutely hallowed ground. And this is something that we really try to keep in mind for ourselves while we're moving those metal detectors and we're hearing the beeps and while we're digging up those items. And again, because we used to serve, I think we, more than most, realized that musket ball that you find in the dirt, especially those impacted musket balls in the dirt, that musket ball that has impacted something terrified someone else.
This is the lineage of America starting right here. The very first day we were here, the park rangers took us out and displayed some of the battlefield for us and told us where the Americans were, where the British were, where the line of battle had been drawn in some of the places. And every single one of us, having been on a battlefield, could stand there very quietly and we could see it.
We don't normally like to undertake research on battlefields because we consider these hallowed ground. But there's nobody better out there suited to help us on a program like this than some of our veterans.
We're protecting that battlefield. We're saving that battlefield in a sense. But the research that we're doing also indicates that that battlefield is saving our veterans. So this is another thing that battlefield can still do today. You look at these guys, the smiles and the eyes lighting up again, that battlefield is still functioning in a way. That's what it does for us. And we think it does that better than a lot of other sites do. So those battlefields are really key for us being able to help veterans.